going from starting her freshman year, because she went to public school all through middle school, or junior high or whatever you want to call it, and she's graduating this year. And I was really nervous about the college situation. I just thought, this is a totally different way. If there's not grades, how do they keep track? How do we show these colleges, like, this is a great student who's worthy of being at your school? And it's really spoken for itself. Dr. Martin's led all these meetings and emails and connections, but Lindley's also been able to follow up herself to go meet with people, and they fall in love with her because of the things that she's thinking
In the
about,
school.
the papers that she's written, the things that she's done, the things that she wants to do. And I mean, honestly, those weren't even things that I would have thought about as being important for a college admission until she's gone through the process. And I mean, it's literally they're honestly, she only applied to a handful of schools, but they are begging her.
Yes.
We have
She's
college
getting scholarships. And
So that's the thing. It was there's going to be this. Everyone around us were saying there's going to be this issue, and our experience has been the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Our oldest daughter, every college she's applied to, has accepted her in, and not only that, they're offering her scholarships, and they're not just throwaway scholarships, like big scholarships, the kind that you actually want that influence and change the dynamic. And so it's been amazing just to watch how the body of work speaks for itself, because the level of scholarship in the papers that they're having to write and the thoughtfulness that they're having to put into the ideas behind the ideas, because it's not just a good paper, it's a good paper about a social issue that's relevant right now, and they're actually creating their own momentum and thought towards that to an end, not just to communicate something about it, but towards something. And that is how Odyssey's influencing it.
Well, what was so telling about her was it was during a break, and we went on a fun vacation together, our families did. And most students, rightfully so, are school, hands off, we're having fun, I don't even think about it. I watched her leave, a beach fun scenario to go read her books, because she was doing this thesis. And it was unbelievable, because it wasn't her parents saying.
As a matter of fact, we were put the book away and come sit on the beach, and she was so
passionate, and I was interested in what she was learning, and I just thought, God, that's what it does, is it lets them, sets them free to learn, and they're excited about it, because they're set free to do it in a way that excites them, and then they push them in other areas for sure. But that was so telling and hopeful for us.
What you're describing, that's part of the reason why I feel so good about the narrative reports that they get instead of getting letter grades. If when we were first looking at it, that was a big uncertain factor for us. I thought, wow, okay, so where's the proof? But that is the proof. The narrative reports are, I would say, so much more than a letter could ever say.
That's right.
And
They're actually accurately describing the output, the achieved result.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
In a way that a test score can never.
And they notice things about our child that I'm just incredulous that they pick up on.
No question.
Someone else knowing your child, not as well as you do, but they're with
But
them a
different.
lot.
And they do
Pretty
it
close.
in a different way than we ever will.
In a way a peer can, in a way that we'll never can.
I think, for us, when we first came into Odyssey, certainly we were looking for something different. What we had was not working.
Right.
So the fact that there were no grades or tests was attractive to us, because that was a struggle for our son, because we felt like where he was before, they had a lot of assessments that were not measuring the things that were his unique gifts and talents and interests, of which he had many. But the assessment system was just not built to measure those things or comment on it or give him any feedback.
Exactly.
So all he was getting was the negative feedback.
And then you just see your kid kind of shrink.
He was shut
And
shutting
then,
down.
and that's what's so painful as a parent, is you just see their spirit just shrink. That's all I can say, is there was just this overwhelming kind of like sadness and like pulling back and not thriving, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then coming into Odyssey, it's just, you see, it's just, you know, it is kind of magic how they do it, you know, and
It's a really great point.
Lets them explore a lot of different things and
Yeah.
find their purpose, or just find a connection to what they're learning.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes all the difference in the world.
I've thought about that a lot. And I one of the reasons I think that's happening for all of our kids and why we're even talking about that experience is like this idea of integration. So disintegrations when things don't connect, right? They fall apart. Integrations when they connect together in a way that works. And most like learning in America and in some ways the world is all like this head and hands idea.
Right.
And we leave like our heart and our soul out of our kind of our experience. And so we get knowledge into our head and we immediately go execute on it. And we don't really ever take time to process it, feel anything about it, or let it transform who we are first before we
Think
do
about how
something
it
with
affects our fellow
the
man.
content.
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool. One of the things that Odyssey is doing is creating those integration experiences. Like the first year I remember, there was a mandatory course called racial reconciliation. So just let that sink in, like first of all, right? Mandatory course, all of you are taking a class on racial reconciliation. And at the end of this semester, to kind of top this off and to kind of integrate this into who we are, we're going to drive to Alabama and we're going to walk the Pettus Bridge. And we're going to see a battlefield in Gettysburg. And we're going to go to, you know, a plantation where slaves really were like human chattel.
Right.
And this really happened. And we're going to stand in all these places and we're going to think about all the things we learned and read about and did in the history and the literature. And then we're going to be there in those moments and talk about how we can now go back into our city and be different people and be architects of repair, is the language that Dr. Martin uses, to influence and change the rest of our existence. Instead of the idea of, I got to get good grades so I can get a good job, so I can have nice things, and so that I can have nice things.
Right. And if you know, all of this information is being given context. You know?
Yes.
I mean, that was one of the things that I was never given in my public school experience.
Right.
Was that, you know, we were not told why this information was
Correct.
important, and that's what that's
It
Disintegrating.
makes a huge difference like,
Absolutely.
in their
It's
interest
enormous.
level, but it goes even beyond that, and that's for me what's so powerful and magical about Odyssey is, you know, all the things we've talked about have been wonderful for our son and our family, but it goes beyond that to even connecting it to, you know, your purpose is to change the world for the better.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, my whole career has been spent in the nonprofit community trying to make other people's lives better, something I felt called and led to do. And I've had the privilege of doing that my whole adult life. Nothing in my schooling ever set me up to do that.
right.
But that's what Odyssey is all about. And for me, you know, watching these generations of other professionals come in and out of nonprofit work, how prepared our kids are going to be with the deep thought processes about inequity, disparity, just life experience that's different from theirs, that is a primary consideration for them in everything that they're talking about and thinking about and doing. They're already having this orientation to how can I, like you said, not just come out of here and be a success by standard success
Right.
measures,
Yeah.
capitalistic success measures,
Right.
whatever. But how am I going to engage with the world and make it a better place for my fellow
Yeah.
human
Yeah.
beings?
Yeah.
That to me is the absolute magic
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
essence of
Yeah.
how this school is different and how it's going to make our community better and how it's
Yeah.
going to make the next generation of leaders better and more impactful,
Yeah.
more compassionate, and more effective human beings.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. That's exactly right. Yeah, and I think you both just said basically the exact same thing. Is like this. There's an end. There's an application, and so therefore we can actually make a useful application, like a good application. And that's been our experience.